Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I don't typically cover headphones on my channel, but the other day I got in these Cambridge Melomania P100s, and these sound spectacular, and they are not all that expensive, at least when compared to other premium noise-canceling headphones. And while they impressed me in many areas, they disappointed me in others, and I wanted to give you my full perspective of these headphones. And before we jump into this, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that these came in free of charge through the Amazon Vine program. However, no other compensation was received. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own, and no one has reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what these headphones are all about. Now, the price point on these come in at $279. That is less than the $349 you would pay for the Bose equivalent here, which are the Quiet Comforts. Now, the Bose headphones that I usually travel with here have better noise cancellation than these do, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But the overall audio quality on here is absolutely spectacular. Now, I am not an audiophile, which is why I don't review headphones, but I listen to lossless audio almost exclusively, at least when it comes to music. And having listened to these now for a couple of days, the sound quality out of these headphones is spectacular. These have 40mm drivers on board, but Cambridge has really tuned things to give you a nice, even range of sound. The bass is not overstated, but when you need it, it's there and it's punchy. It's got great range everywhere else, a lot of nice precision to the audio. A lot of the fine details are heard and picked up. Additionally, there are some settings in the app for adjusting the EQ manually, but I've been leaving this on its default flat setting, basically the settings that Cambridge thinks you should be listening to these things with, and I was very pleased with it and have not really felt the need to make any kinds of adjustments to it. And one of the things I've heard other reviewers talk about is that it feels very roomy and spacious, and I felt that myself. So I think what you're hearing about the audio quality from the many reviewers that have looked at this so far is very consistent, and certainly consistent with my experience. The ear cups are nice and large here as well. They fit over my ears completely, even my big ears here. And when you put them on, you are very well isolated here. In fact, you often don't need the noise cancellation at all because it does block out the ambient noise so effectively. They're also very comfortable. It does have a synthetic vegan leather here around the ear cups. They are making a replacement ear cup available soon, so if these wear out, you can swap them out yourself. Additionally, they're going to allow you to do the same with the battery. So they're really selling this as something you're going to own for many, many years, which was nice to see. The headband here is fabric and not using the pleather. It is a bit hard here on the sides, but the part that comes in contact with your head is relatively soft. And I feel more pressure on the side of my head than I do on the top. And I did wear this for a number of hours, and it felt very comfortable without any real fatigue, although it was a little hard to keep my glasses on because it does grasp onto the side of your head so tightly, which is good because that's what the isolation will do for you there. By contrast here, I did find my Bose headset to be a little more attractive when it's on my head. As you can see here, it's a lot sleeker than these are, but if you don't care what you look like and you care about audio quality, I think you will find these to be much better. Now, I found the controls to be quite simple on here. You've got a physical switch for turning them on and off. One of my gripes with the Bose is I never know where my on-off button is because it's got buttons all over it and they all feel the same. This one's a lot simpler. Flick the switch, they turn on. Now, to pair it up via Bluetooth, you hold the switch up and that will begin its pairing mode. It will pair with up to 8 devices and remember them, and it can be connected to 2 simultaneously, and it supports Bluetooth 5.3. Here is your noise cancellation button. I'm going to talk more about noise cancellation in a minute, but you've got 3 basic settings: off, on, or pass-through, where it will allow you to hear what's going on outside while also keeping the noise cancellation engaged. On this side, you have your media controls. You can summon your assistant if you push the button 2 or 3 times. You can also play and pause and answer phone calls. Then you got your volume rockers there. And that is it, because that's all you really should need on a pair of headphones. Now, on board, it's got a pretty decent DAC, the Qualcomm QCC3084 chip. Qualcomm says this is actually their entry-level audio processor, but I think for the purposes of these headphones, combined with how good they sound, I am perfectly happy with it. But you will note that there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. There's only a USB-C port. But they give you some cables in the box here to rectify that if you need to. So if you are plugging into a traditional headphone jack, you pop this into your device, and then this is your cable going into the port, and then you can get your audio delivered that way. Now, if you've got a device that does not have a headphone jack, what's nice is that when you plug the USB-C in, this will work as an audio cable to the phone or computer or tablet that you're connected to. And on my iPhone and on my Mac, I was able to get the 24-bit 96 kilohertz audio working on it just fine. It sounds great. I was really pleased with the output quality, and that's how I've been listening to music mostly with these headphones, just plugging them in directly to the device that I'm connecting to. It does support some of the lossless Bluetooth formats, aptX lossless to be exact. It also has some of the other modes like adaptive, aptX, AAC, and SBC. But many devices, including my iPhone, don't support Bluetooth lossless right now. So if you are a lossless audio aficionado, you're going to need to plug it in directly to most of the popular phones out there, at least at the moment. Now, they're not all that heavy. The weight comes in at 330 grams, or about 11.6 ounces. And of course, the weight is distributed across your head. So again, no comfort issues to complain about here. Battery life is also very good on these. They claim 100 hours when you are running it without the active noise cancellation, 60 hours with it. I haven't been able to run them down that far, but in my testing, they have been very efficient, at least when they're operating off the battery. But of course, I've been using them a lot plugged in, where it will draw power from the host device. But as great as these headphones are, if you are somebody who likes to walk around while you're listening to music with your headphones on, you may not be as happy with these, especially with the noise cancellation active. And that's because it picks up the sound of my feet walking on my hardwood floors, for example, even with my socks on, and I'm hearing an annoying clicking sound quite frequently as my footsteps hit the ground. And I think it's because the hardware here is getting rattled a little bit, and that is transferring to the microphones that it uses for noise cancellation. That is probably something they can work out in software at some point, but right now it is very distracting. Other users on Reddit have reported similar issues with these things, and for that reason, this is not going to be a product I will recommend for people that like to walk around with noise cancellation active. Another issue I'm running into, and this may just be me, but I often hear my footsteps when noise cancellation is disabled as like these elephant feet steps inside of the headphones here, likely because there is some energy vibrating up my body into the headphones and shaking a little bit. I've got these things on tight. I don't think it's a fit issue. It could just be me, but I do think you will encounter these kinds of issues if you are a more active music listener with your headphones attached. Now, I typically listen to music without moving around, so if I am out walking, I usually take my AirPods with me and not something larger. So if you are someone who is very sensitive to movement and noise from the headphones themselves, these will certainly represent a problem if you are someone who's actively moving around. Now, if you load up your phone, when you've got it paired up via Bluetooth, you can jump in and make some adjustments to the headphones and update its firmware. By the way, I did just put the most recent firmware on these, and it didn't rectify the noise cancellation issue that I just talked about. But I like the app here. It's very simple to use. It doesn't give you too many options, but it does allow you to tweak things to where you want them to be. So for example, you've got your whole user guide here, first of all, which is nice. You also can adjust the noise cancellation here. So right now I've got it set to its default setting of high and active, but I could turn it off here, and this would replicate pushing the button here on the headphones. I can also enable the transparency mode. Now on the app, you can set your preference for how you want the noise cancellation to work. You can do low, medium, or high. And I may spend a little bit more time adjusting this to find a setting that works best for me when I take my next flight. But you can find a profile that works best for you. And you can keep a separate profile for the noise cancellation mode and the transparency mode. So if you prefer the noise cancellation to drop a bit, which it will by default, you can set it to low here, and you also have an option for voice focus. So you can, again, dial everything in the way you want. They also have an equalizer here, and I've got mine again set to flat, which is kind of where they think these headphones should be. But if you have a different preference, they've got some built-in ones here. So for example, I can enable rock, And then I could further customize things by jumping into the equalizer to balance things out. But again, I've been very happy with it just sitting on flat here, but you can adjust this to your preferences and music preferences as well. Wear detection is kind of neat because when you put them on, if you have this enabled, it will start playing audio automatically. I don't have that enabled on mine, but you have the option to do that. They also have a gaming mode here, which will reduce the latency. So when this is active, they say the latency will be less than 80 milliseconds, and it will probably suffer a little bit on the quality side. But if you are playing games and you want the audio to be closer to the action on screen, you can turn that mode on as well. They also have a setting change here for the audio feedback because there is a voice inside that will tell you a few things like pairing and other things, and you can change the language inside of the app for that. But that is pretty much it. Very simple product, a very good sounding product if you are not moving around. So if you are someone who's looking for a nice pair of headphones for your next flight, I think you will like these quite a bit. And what's nice about them is that even when you're not on a flight, you've got a very nice pair of audiophile quality headphones, in my opinion, that are great for private music listening. That's going to do it for this one. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.